Hey guys, my name is Manny Romero. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist working in Orange County, California. And this channel is for me to deliver strategies and conversations that are going to help you just to reach a new level of fulfillment and happiness in your life. Um, One of the things that prevents us from growing, from feeling happier, from feeling just a sense of joy and fulfillment is we limit ourselves from growth by not recognizing that we need help. That's why there's a lot of movements right now around mental health, just making it normal that seeking help, is something that everybody needs to do. I think a lot of what stops us from being able to reach out to someone and letting them know, hey, I'm lost right now, or hey, I don't feel right mentally, or I don't feel right emotionally, it's seen as a weakness. It's seen as you're not strong enough to cope. You're not strong enough to get through this without talking to somebody, and that's absolutely not true. I think we have to challenge the way we look at this idea, because if we continue to really see this as a weakness, even though mentally you might think, okay, it's not a weakness, if you believe that from the bottom of your heart, emotionally, if you believe that it's a weakness, you're not going to reach out to people. You're not going to trust in that process, because you're gonna protect yourself. You don't want to be weak. You don't want to believe that you're weak-minded, that you're weak-spirited, or what have you, right? So you're going to protect yourself from that mechanism. But if you are able to successfully challenge the idea that reaching out is for weak people, and work through that, you're going to be able to ask for help a lot easier. And you think about it, the greatest people, the greatest achievers, I should say, have had a lot of help around them. I mean, you think about in sports, the Peyton Mannings, the Tom Bradys of the world, the Michael Jordans of the world, Kobe Bryants of the world. They've had, how many trainers have they had? How many coaches have they had? How many people have they had around them, pushing them, sending positive messages and showing them where they can improve, what their strengths are? Probably a lot of people. So I think if you want to be able to reach new levels of happiness, new levels of growth, new levels of achievement in your life, start being receptive to the idea that you're going to need help, right? The question isn't, do I need help? The question is, when do I need the most help? Where do I need help? And what area do I need help in, right? And so, one of the things that I'd suggest you to start doing if you want to embark on this journey is really write down just some of the limited beliefs you have around receiving help. When you think back to your earlier childhood upbringing, what were some of the messages around receiving help that you got from your family? Was it that only stupid people receive help? Was it that we make fun of you if you need help, if you can't find a way to do it by yourself? What's your earliest memories around that? And that'll start to kind of define and reveal just some of the underlying beliefs you have around the idea of help. Once you've been able to do that, I think it's important to start to ask for honest feedback. I think sometimes we think we know ourselves, we think we know our strengths and our weaknesses as people, but other people have a better perception of us because they see things in us that we can't see in ourselves, right? We have a biased view of ourselves. We're always with ourselves. And so we get used to certain things about ourselves, our behaviors, our thoughts, or the way we feel, the way we act, that we are blinded by some of the things that we do. And so get a set of people around you that you trust, maybe a wife, a husband, children, your parents, co-workers, people that you work closely with, good friends, and ask them honestly, right, to tell you, like, what are some of my strengths? What are some of my weaknesses as a person, as a friend, as a husband, as a father, as a daughter, as a wife? This might be easier for them if you find a way to do it anonymously, whether people just kind of write on a piece of paper or they send you do like an anonymous survey so that people feel more comfortable to really tell you the truth about this stuff. But when you've accumulated a list of these things, you have now some data that you can kind of keep close to you, and you can kind of look over, and you can just see how you feel about it, right? Some of these things you might look at it and say like, oh man, I didn't know that I did that. Like, I didn't know that people saw that as a weakness. I thought that was a strength. Some of these things you might look at and you might say, yeah, I do that. But at least you get a clear picture of some of the strengths and the weaknesses you have. And one of the things I'd like to say about this is the important thing isn't to like improve your weaknesses so that you're this, perfect almighty person. We're just never going to get there. We're human, we're imperfect. That's part of like what makes us, right? But I think the idea here is that like we accept ourselves wholeheartedly. We accept our weaknesses and our strengths. Because the things that are our weaknesses will probably continue to be our weaknesses for a very long time. They're probably going to continue to drive us down our slumps. But the more we can accept those, the easier we're going to be able to recognize what our strengths are. What are those things about us that will take us out of our slump and utilize those more often, right? So those are some of the ways that you have to start looking at this. It's not about getting perfect. It's about building on your strengths, using your strengths to your advantage. So if, I think get a piece of paper, write some of this stuff down, and just start to really hone in on who you are. And this is how you start to just accept yourself. This is the process of how you start to get to know yourself, Some of you might need a little help around this, maybe by talking to a mentor, a coach, a counselor, and that's okay. You might not be emotionally as ready to look at these things, and that's all right. You have to start somewhere, though. Don't be afraid to reach out and ask for help. All right, guys, catch you on the next one.